They threw it out, and I turned it into this. A museum-worthy frame built from scraps, offcuts, and rejects. Not for speed, not for cost, but for the craft and the story. So in this video, I want to show you how I made this frame from basically what the framer had discarded, putting together two different profiles. And admittedly, they've been sitting in my studio for several years. I've got a project in mind, but I might need your help with that. More on that later. But essentially, with the exception of these moldings, the frame was assembled and finished by hand from these discarded samples, offcuts. This really is a story of one man's trash is another man's treasure. I'm totally enamored with a particular aesthetic. I love the 19th century. I love Baroque period stuff. I love stuff that is ornamentation for the sake of it. Gold, gilding, things that shimmer and sparkle, but also things that appear old and have got this presence like they've lived a life, like they have a story to tell. Here's the problem though. I don't have that kind of money to afford the genuine article. So, I gotta make it myself. And in this case, I gotta fake it myself. With all my pieces cut, I need to attach them to one another, and I can't have this frame moving and those corners cracking. You see, the thing I really love is a corner that just fits without a discernible line, so it looks like it's just been chopped and stuck together. I'm going to actually blend these corners in with one another, but first I need to secure them. So I've got my inner, I've got my outer, so I use some biscuits in the corners, but I'm also going to use some metal brackets. Oh, and a lot of glue. I find myself caught between two worlds, honoring these timeless practices and traditions, and at the same time wanting to hack my way through some sort of DIY process myself. I want to honor the craft of frame making, that process, that old school philosophy. It's slow, it's deliberate, it's tactile. But this kind of work does take a lot of time, a lot of experience, some pretty high-end tools and techniques. And it should. But at the same time, I'm wanting to do this in my own way, through things that I think could be repurposed, upcycled, if you will. One thing's for sure, this is a lot of fun. A frame is not an afterthought. It's a declaration. It says, this matters. Oftentimes, before the viewer ever sees the art, they see the frame. And if it's done right, they can feel the weight of the work. They can feel that time, the care that went into it, and they lean in. A frame sets the stage. It fixes the piece in a moment, a time, and a place. And it becomes a bridge between the world outside and the one going on inside the work. And so there's a lot riding on this for me. I want this frame to draw the viewer in. And in order to give it that allure, that old world luster, I need to thoroughly prepare it. Here, I'm giving it a coat of a product called Zinsser 123. After I've thoroughly sanded it back, of course, this will allow me to go over the top with fresh gilding. There is another step between these that is absolutely vital. Now, I mentioned previously that I want those corners to disappear. I want one to blend into another and not look like it's just been chopped and joined. This is one unit. It's one object, not the sum of 8 different lengths of random scrap picture framing. Ornate frames carry a certain history in their design. They speak in a language. They don't whisper, but they command. I don't know if you've ever felt this when you're looking at museums and looking at the old masters hanging on the wall. There's a certain presence to them, isn't there? The right frame can take a sketch or a study and turn it into a statement. And I don't know about you, but to me, what better statement to make than something that shines and shimmers with gold? Right over the top of some Rust-Oleum spray paint, I start applying this gold leaf. Yeah, I know this isn't the traditional method. This isn't even real gold. It's a product called Schlag. And I'm using Liquid Original, which is the same medium I paint with, as my adhesive to stick this gold down. And then pat it down with a brush and rub with some baking paper to make sure it's good and stuck. Now there's going to be all kinds of gaps and cracks in this gold where that red is going to come bursting through, but I want that. It's going to make it look really cool and antiqued. Now gold leaf is a funny thing. It's delicate, finicky, fragile, yet it makes such a bold statement. It doesn't necessarily have to be loud or brash, but it's kind of clear. It's timeless. And it looks so good on a traditional oil painting. There's something about laying down this gold and then dulling it, pushing it back, aging it, which I'm about to get into, and turning it into something that's older. Once it's good and stuck down, I brush off all that excess, revealing a smooth finish. This really brings out all of those highlights in the frame's ornamentation. But we need to give this a coat that's going to make it look like it's really, really old. I'm going to use some Liquid Original here and a handful of colors. I've got transparent red and yellow oxide, a bit of ultramarine blue, and burnt umber for my initial coat of antiquing. And I'm just using a cheap old chip brush and some Liquid Original. I brush this into some of those cracks and grooves and then rub away from the top, revealing some of those gold highlights. It's going to take several layers of antique to get the right effect, and I've been playing with different combinations of color to give me something that looks like it could potentially be from the 19th century. That's what I'm going for, that worn 19th century, almost Victorian vibe. It's a little rustic, a little bit decadent, but it places the work in a lineage. Not literally, but emotionally. Because even though my paintings are contemporary, as in they're painted today, I want them to feel like they've been here before, like they've lived a life already. And that's why a frame like this, and that's why I love gold leaf. It's why I antique. It's not necessarily about a trend, it's about taste. And here's the truth about taste. It's personal and it's risky. Taste says something about you, whether you want it to or not. The moment you choose a style as an artist, you're declaring your influences, your values, and your aesthetic DNA. And that's really terrifying because not everybody's going to like it. I get some very strong reactions to this kind of presentation. But that's kind of the point, isn't it? I mean, we spend so much time as artists trying to stand out, but also trying to fit in, to be original, but also acceptable. Framing is one of those choices, a subtle one at that, but it really does show your hand. When you frame your work in a certain way, ornate, clean, minimal, raw, You're telling people how you want them to see it, how to place it. I frame in this way, deliberately old world, a little over the top, because that's what I love. I'm not interested in sterile. I'm not interested in safe. I want to create an atmosphere, even before you look at the first brushstroke. Now, people might think it's too much, too nostalgic, too heavy-handed, but I'd rather someone feel something than just walk away feeling indifferent. Here it is, the final article. And I think it turned out pretty good, but you let me know what you think. Now here's where you come in. I don't actually have a painting yet for this frame. So let me know what you think I should paint in this in the comments down below. And the top voted comment, I'm actually gonna paint it. That's right, I know this is probably a terrible idea, but legit, the top voted comment, I'm gonna paint in a future video. So please be gentle. All right, that's going to do it for this video. But thanks so much for hanging out with me here in the studio. I'll see you again in the next one.